Hi besties, I'm mood reading this week. I let Nate choose my first book. I let him choose from 3 different romances and he chose Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, which I was most excited about. I've been craving a cowboy romance. I'm 40 pages in. I'm liking it. I'm not far enough to really say much, but the writing style is good. It's cute. I have no idea what other books I'm gonna read. I don't know if I really have any on my radar. I'm thinking of trying Frida McFadden. Maybe that'll be in this video, but also I just love romance right now. I'm in such a romancy mood and I have lots on my TBR, so I'm gonna keep reading this and I'll keep you updated. Hi besties, I'm like 250 pages in and it's super good so far. I will say one thing that I wanted to say at the beginning of the book is I really wish that Luke had something going on in his life. Well, he does, but I wish he spoke about it more or he had some type of conflict in his personal life, because pretty much every chapter in the first like 200 pages or 150 pages that came from Luke's perspective were only about him thinking about Emmy and like what he would do to her. And I liked Emmy's chapters because she did speak about like her ADHD and her panic attacks, and she had conflicts in that way. She also just had conversations with Teddy, things like that. Nearing the end, you do naturally just learn more about Luke, not really through his perspective and his thought process, even just through Emmy's point of view. She asks questions and he answers, so you do learn about him as a character. But I just wish Luke's chapters were more Luke filled and not only about the relationship. Hey, I didn't think I liked slow burns, but this is like perfect to me. The spicy scenes are a little too spicy for me, in the sense that like Chestnut Springs, the spicy scenes are kind of several chapters long, but they have really deep and meaningful conversations during. But this one, it kind of reminds me of Tessa Bailey's spicy scenes. I feel like Tessa Bailey writes her spicy scene and then just makes a story around it, because when you're actually reading the spicy scene, it doesn't even feel like you're reading the characters, and that's kind of what Luke is like. Emmy during the spicy scenes are fine, but Luke during the spicy scenes, he gets like very into it. And I know some people are like that in real life, but just like reading about Luke, he just seems very respectful, especially towards Emmy, and caring and like chivalrous. And then during the spicy scenes, it's like the complete opposite. But it is a cowboy romance, so I think that comes regardless, and it definitely adds positive impact to the story. It's just something that crossed my mind. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say. I do really like how each and every character that we're introduced to will wrap up somehow. Like, I don't know much about the future books, but just like every time a new character is introduced, I just know that someone, like, they're gonna be in a book in the future, and I'm excited to read about them. All of the characters intrigue me. I kind of like the chemistry between Wes and Teddy, and I know that they don't have a book together, and I know that that doesn't actually like get anywhere. But just the way that Wes speaks to Teddy is so cute to me. And maybe it's more like on a sibling level, but I can't really tell because they don't have very many scenes together. He's just very respectful and kind and maybe a little bit sarcastic, a little bit humorous. Yeah, he's super cute with Teddy, but I know that they are not the couple in one of the future books. It's gonna be interesting seeing how the future couples, which I don't want to name in case you don't know, but it's not Wes and Teddy. It's gonna be interesting to see how Lila Sage does rope together the couples that do come together. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say, so I'm gonna probably finish it and get back to you. And honestly, honestly, I know this is a mood reading video. Like, I just want to keep reading some cowboy romance. I don't know if I should go the Chestnut Springs series route or just go to the next one of this or try something completely different, but I'm enjoying myself. I love a cowboy romance and I haven't read one in so long and it's just so tried and true for me. It just gives me all the vibes that I want. Also, I unintentionally matched my book today, so that's kind of crazy, but yeah. Hi besties. I'm on page 282. I just wanted to update you because I have a few things written in my notes before I sit and finish it. I do feel like most of the things that I'm going to say will probably be proven wrong within the last bit of the book. I'm a little confused because I'm 280 pages in and I've been enjoying myself, like thoroughly enjoying myself the entire time, like thinking about the couple, feeling giddy, laughing, giggling out loud, but I feel like nothing has happened. It's very, very romance heavy. A lot of the conversations and thoughts revolve around the relationship and not much else. I'm going to talk about the 3 things that are written in my notes. I would consider them to be light spoilers, so just keep that in mind. I'll put a timestamp if you don't want to listen. 280 pages in and Gus still doesn't know. So I was under the impression from the way that it was brought up at the beginning of the book, I thought the second half of the book was going to be about Gus finding out and it being this huge thing, it being such a big deal. I just don't know how that plot's going to go and I don't want him to not care and just be like, oh, okay. Like I kind of want him to get angry because he's been portrayed as such a protective and angry character. So I don't want him to just let it slide, but also I don't want it to feel rushed. I feel like it might feel rushed. I'll find out when that time comes. I do wish that we got to see Emmy train for the divisionals because right where I left off, I think it happened to be the divisionals. We knew it was coming. Like it kind of just skipped a few weeks in advance and it literally says, it felt like I blinked and divisionals were here. And that's also what I felt like because the chapter before this, they were talking about divisionals coming up in like the next week or so. Like I really wish we got to see her training and that is the way that her and Brooks could have gained more chemistry. And I also just like more than just romance to be part of the plot. But I'm right at the part of divisionals, so maybe there's flashbacks or maybe there's just like some things that she says to make us aware that Brooks did help her during training. I don't know, I'm not there yet. But I do like seeing the hardships that she goes through and hearing about it just because it makes me like her more as a person and more relatable and I can connect more. Also bouncing off of that, my third point is I kind of mentioned earlier all of Luke's perspectives were mainly just about the romance and I was saying that I wish there was more drama to his life and then randomly there was a chapter that I just read that was all about the drama in Luke's life and I really wish that was trickled in throughout the book. And also the way that that chapter closed off, I don't think we're going to get any more of that at the end of the book. So why was only one random chapter, which was a lengthy chapter, but still, why was only one chapter revolving around Luke's hardships in his family and his own personal life? Because I think it would have added way more depth to his character. Other than that, I am embarrassingly enjoying myself. Truly, I think this might end up being just a video of cowboy romances because if I have the decision to mood read, it's all I'm going to want to read. I don't have Swift and Saddled. I might have to flip-flop between Chestnut Springs and Rebel Blue Ranch. They are extremely similar, like very similar, but they're different enough for me to understand like the two different, like those are two completely different families. I feel like I can read both simultaneously without getting them intertwined despite being very similar. But I am really liking this. Brooks is a little cutie. Emmy, I can't personally relate to. I don't know if Emmy has much personality, to be honest. Now that I'm thinking about it, I do love her and I feel like this is an issue that she as a character also thinks about herself. I think a lot of her town has always just, or a lot of the people in the world have always just seen her as the rider and as her brother's little sister. So I feel like it's been hard for her to create a persona for other people to perceive because the things that she does or just the family that she was raised in has kind of forced people to have a preconceived notion of her, if that makes sense. And that is actually something I can relate to. Not in the sense that I have like these amazing, awesome personality traits that everyone just knows about me and assumes things about me from. However, like I feel like a lot of you can relate as well. Sometimes you just have so many hobbies or so little hobbies, depending on what side of the spectrum you are. And then you end up just kind of being confused and you don't even know how you perceive yourself, let alone how other people perceive you. And it kind of stresses you out. But yeah, I can't wait to finish this. I set it down like probably an hour ago to eat, catch up, and I've been thinking about it ever since. I literally have 30-ish pages left, which confuses me even more because I thought I had like 60. So I don't know what's gonna happen with the things that I mentioned in the spoiler area. I guess we'll see. I don't know when the last time you saw me was, but since then I have finished, done and dusted. I rated it 5 stars. There were a few things that were lacking, but I don't think it took away from the overall vibe of the book that I really, really loved. First of all, don't mind my hoodie. Second of all, sorry if the camera shakes. My tripod right now is a pack of Emergency and a box of Kleenexes. I'm a little stuffed up if you can't tell. Third of all, never once told you what this was about. So, if you care, if you don't know what this is about, you're following Emmy, or Clementine, who is a horse rider, racer gal, to an accident on her horse, and she goes through a breakup and all these things, so she moves home. And where is home, you may ask? Rubble Blue Ranch, of course. Yeah, she basically goes back to her small hometown. She lives on a farm. And who is this, you may ask? Her best friend. Nope. This is her boyfriend's best friend, Luke Brooks. Yeah, basically he kind of grew up as like this like irresponsible, immature player. Always made fun of her because she was just like her best friend's younger sister, whatever. Throughout the book, they slowly find themselves alone together. They start learning more about each other. She's basically trying to get herself back on a horse because she's experienced a lot of trauma from her accident, and he kind of helps her with that. I kind of touched on it throughout the video, but now I can put it into better words. Basically, throughout the book, I just wish Luke's point of views had more of his backstory, because I feel like I found out all of that nearing the end. As much as I loved him, I feel like I could have loved him even more if I had known more about kind of what made him who he is. Even if there were flashbacks to go back to them when they did like hate each other, I would have loved to see that. Honestly, still a 5 out of 5. And one more thing I have to say, I don't want to say anything for spoilers. Basically, there was one main aspect of the book that was stressing me out the whole time. And I was worried Lila Sage took too long to get there, and I was concerned that it would feel too rushed. In my opinion, the ending was literally perfect, spot on. It was something that I wasn't even expecting. Like, I was concerned that it wasn't going to be good, and it ended up exceeding my expectations. So I finished this book, and what did I do? And I am 60 pages in. I can already tell I'm not going to like this book as much just because I think the city girl going to the small town cowboy is just not something I absolutely love in comparison to how this was a cowgirl and a cowboy, if that makes any sense. I've read a lot, not even cowboy related, just like big city girl goes to small town boy. It's not overdone by any means. Like, this hits the mark. I was literally saying to Nate as I was reading, I'm like, there's just specific tropes that just work and they will always hit, but I just fear that I will be comparing it. Honestly, I am very excited about the interior decorating portion of this book. I do like how she's bold. It brings a very different character energy into the book. Also, the spice level, okay, the spice level in this was fairly high. It's not like a dark romance spice level by any means, but there's definitely a few chapters, and I'm even like, this one, I saw like a chart type of thing that people do on Bookstagram, and it kind of lays out what chapters of some books or series have spice in them, so you can avoid them if you want to. And I think this one only has like 3 chapters with spice in it. That makes me feel a little better because I did love the spice, but I'm here for the romance, the slow burn, and the characters, to be honest. Like, this family is like one of my faves that I've ever read about. Having that said, I'm going to read this. Honestly, this is a pretty short book. I wasn't expecting it to be this short. It's only 295 pages, if that. And can we please talk about the floppiness of these books? This is like so addicting to hold. Like, when I'm reading, if I'm reading and I can just like, not a good example. Okay, I'm gonna go read this book. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I am so tired, but I need to update on this because this isn't a deal breaker really, and this happens for a lot of books, but I wish I could see Ada and Weston together more. Like right now, every time it's on either of their perspectives, they're just kind of like coming up with excuses as to why they can't love the other person or why they don't want to be with the other person or whatever, which is cliche, classic. I think in a relatively good way. Can it be overdone? Yeah. Am I in the mood for it right now? No. But I'm not complaining about it. It's just there, you know? Okay, my camera died. But Lila Sage tends to write more from the perspective of the character that you're reading, which is valid, but we don't always see all of the romance. She just tends to bring it up in more of like a nostalgic or like past tense statement, and I wish we got to see it because then I could get the butterflies with it. For example, right now Ada is buying hoodies, okay? And Wes says, "Watching you shiver every morning is driving me crazy, and you won't take any of the coats I offer." I just wish I could physically watch him offer her the coat and not just hear about it happening. You know what I mean? Because from her perspective, every time I read her point of view, or even his, I'm under the impression that she is like completely ignoring him, like they really only talk about work. So the fact that like those little snippets happen behind my back, I'm betrayed. I want to hear about it. We're still early on in the book, and I know it's a slow burn, so I'm not concerned with the lack of chemistry. And I also want to say there's not really a lack of chemistry at all. I definitely think they both like each other. Every time they do have scenes alone, there is always like that little bit of tension, chemistry, the romance that I'm asking for. I just want more of it somehow, which kind of takes away from it being a slow burn, so I get it. I get it. By the way, if you don't know what this is about, I don't read very many series, so I don't know if it's appropriate to go over and discuss what goes on, but obviously I'm not going to include spoilers or anything. If I do, then I'll put timers on the screen, but not right now. So Emmy from the first book, one of her older brothers is Wes. That's who this is. And then Ada is, let's say, a creative designer assisting Wes with a project. It's very Grey's Anatomy coded in the first chapter. They meet at the bar. The next morning she goes to her first day on the job. She's never met her boss before. Who does she see? Same man from the bar. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's what I have to say about the classic tropes that Lila Sage writes about. That's pretty much it. Obviously there's a little bit of tension, lots of chemistry. There's also a lot of depth to each of the characters, and you do actually learn a lot about both of their backstories and both of their mindsets. Hers more than his, which I find to be a little bit of a theme with Lila Sage. I think she's just better writing woman and from a woman's perspective as a woman, if that makes sense. I can never write a man's brain, so I get it. I am learning a little bit about Wes, way more than I was learning about Brooks from the first book, so that makes me feel better. But yeah, that's my update on Swift and Saddled. I just realized I bought this cover a little broken, but whatever. I'm gonna go to bed. I have stuff in my notes. I'm so sorry. I have a lot to say. Like, I can tell that they like each other, but I'm lacking the information on why. As I'm continuing to read it, they are progressing with using the proper terminology to actually tell me why they like each other. But for the first solid 100 pages, it was just very sexual tension focused. I'm almost 200 pages in. Now I am starting to see them like physically be together more, and I get that that's just a slow burn. I'm just not really used to slow burns, to be honest. Okay, regarding this kind of topic, it feels a lot more like sexual attraction, or just that she thinks that he's attractive. Like, honestly, he is a little better with words as a narrator than she is. Like, she just kind of talks about his looks and doesn't talk about like anything to do with his personality. On a normal basis, I wouldn't really like that in a romance, because I do genuinely like actual chemistry and flirting in scenes, But in this case, I'd rather them just have sexual tension because of attractiveness rather than they're claiming to like each other for their personalities but not showing it to me. Okay, next. This is kind of just to do with both of the books so far. And I noticed this in other interconnected standalones, which I don't know why this is a thing. I wish the characters' personalities stick throughout the series. This is really niche, but in Done and Dusted, the way that I pictured Emmy in my head wouldn't necessarily strike me as a Swiftie, for example. And in this book, Emmy is fully just like choosing to play like modern Taylor Swift songs. Whereas like in this one, I would just picture her, if she's going to play a Taylor Swift song, it's going to be something from like her early career when she was actually a country artist. But it just feels like it's not her. And then lastly, I wrote this part in my notes before I got to where I actually was currently. But in the first book, I feel like I was made to hate Cam. She just kind of a side character who kind of gave attitude a little bit, or was not really attitude, but she was just intimidating because she is like Riley's mom and she's not really in the picture. And then out of nowhere in Swift and Saddled, she's kind of like a big part of the series now. Like she's genuinely a friend. Once again, just like not how I picture her to be from the first book. And I originally wrote that as but just something that I didn't like. But as I've read on, I actually love Cam. I'm really liking how this book is tying in the next few books. So I have maybe like 120 pages left, and it's definitely getting to a part where I'm like the slow burn is becoming less slow by the minute, and I'm liking it. I do want to say Wes and Cam, all the lack of chemistry aside, all of the slow burn aside, they are literally the same person. Whenever I'm reading their thoughts from their point of view, they just say the same things and their insecurities are very similar. They overthink in the same ways, and I actually have similar insecurities to them. So the fact that just all three of us can kind of relate, I am rooting for them despite my whole rant that I just went on, and I can just tell they would be like so good together. And it feels weird talking about fictional characters that way because they were written by the same person. But having all of that said, I'll see you next time I see you. Girl, shut up. Shut your mouth. I can't. This is like going horribly wrong, and I wasn't expecting this. I have literally 20 pages left. It's getting worse. I thought I was already at the tipping point. Oh my god. He is stronger than me, honestly. Weston is stronger than me because I would have been crying and I would have been out the door long ago. And he's just here making amends. Please. I was not even a Weston girl until now, and he is just saying all the right things. I literally need to take a photo of this immediately and highlight it and annotate it and tattoo it on my body. Like, sorry, I can't read this out loud. I would be the stupidest man alive if I let something as stupid and surmountable as distance take you away from me. I need to move on. I need to finish this book. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, she's a bitch. I'm going through emotions. She's a bitch. Oh my gosh. Well, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. Oh my god. Low-key, she was good. Now she's annoying. I'm really disliking her in the last 50 pages. And I think, once again, if we knew more about her past in detail, then everything that's been happening now wouldn't be such a shock to me. Everything does make sense, but I just wish that I could see her talking about it more. Because there's things happening that, like, make sense, but, like, why is it happening in the last 40 pages? The idea of it could have been mentioned throughout the entire book, which obviously takes away the shock factor, but she's gonna have to do something major for me to like her again. I'm getting annoyed. I love him. Is he better than Luke Brooks? No, of course not. He's great, honestly. He's great. I need to switch the camera angle for the last little bit. Let's see if she doesn't piss me off. I swear to God. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna cry. Oh my god, I'm such a baby. This is not a sad book and it's not a tearjerker. I don't want you to think this. I'm literally just a crybaby. I'm straight up crying. Oh my god. This epilogue feels like the end of a series and it's only the second book. Oh my god. Shut up. How did I not think of this? I literally was thinking of every other thing that could happen. Most of it was gonna piss me off. This didn't even cross my mind. Like literally, like even while reading it, I was like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And then it finally said it and I'm like, oh my god. Oh. Wes's Spanicle Black. God, I literally just had some yesterday and it tasted so bad. Out of here. I am so excited for the next book, you don't even understand. I need to recoup. And then you'll see me again. One moment. Okay, it's a bit later. I'm gonna start with Swift and Saddled. I want to give it a 4, but I have been so lenient with ratings. But like, does that matter? The world's still gonna spin, so it gets a 4, okay? Throughout the book, I thought I was gonna be a 3 stars. We're talking stars here, by the way. But then I look back at the books that I have rated 3 stars, and I genuinely just like thought they were boring, but they were still like a romance book. Whereas this I actually liked. Like, I genuinely liked. I just didn't love. I had several mood swings during this book because like halfway through I said to you guys, I think, that the first book I was nervous about the ending and it ended up being a perfect ending that I really liked. So I was like, I'm not stressed. So far it's like 3 stars, but I already know the ending is gonna be so good because Lila Sage is so good at endings. And then we got to that little portion and I genuinely, it was a 4-star in my head at that point. What happened that was pissing me off brought it back down to a full 3. Like not a 3.5, not a 3.75, a 3. Like I was not liking it. This book could have gone in so many different directions. This is not what I wanted to read. But then honestly the epilogue alone brought it close to a 5, to be honest. That epilogue was so good. It tied in all characters that we've met. It honestly feels like a finale, even though it's not. Like there's literally 2 more books. But yeah, I know you heard my thoughts about this, both of them really, as I was talking about them. So I'm kind of just gonna talk about whatever I can think of as it pops up. I do need to get better at speaking on why I like the books because I feel like I just rate books highly but then just speak on the things that I notice that I don't love. I have so many reasons as to why I like them. Those things just happen to come natural to me, so it doesn't cross my mind when I'm reading it. They're both in the same series. I can kind of speak on them at the same time. First of all, Lila Sage's writing style. Her writing style is easy and quick to read. Lila Sage is a lot more poetic than other people. Like she has very quotable books. I don't want to come off as dramatic and I don't want you to take this with a grain of salt because I'm being so serious. It is so easy to gobble up. I just flew through them. Both of these books were also books that like once I closed it, I would constantly be thinking about it when I'm not reading. I want to go pick it back up. She knows how to write a man, let me tell you that. Lila Sage knows how to write a gentleman, how to write sweetest souls that I want to cherish. Like I was a Luke Brooks girl. I still am, don't worry. Now, once I read Lost and Lassoed, it'd be a different story. But Luke Brooks, I love. Wes, I didn't think I cared about him, but nearing the end, he's not real. I know he's not real, but like he's not real. The things that he says and just the way that he thinks is so respectful and responsible and mature and communicative. I don't even know, chivalrous, and it all comes so natural to him. Again, I feel weird saying these things about a fictional character that was written by a woman because I get it. I also think that both of these books aren't too long. Like I don't think anything really feels unnecessary to the plot, but if it was any longer I would have been like it's definitely starting to drag on. So I think it's honestly the perfect length. Also, Swift and Saddled kind of leaves you on a bit of a cliffhanger in some ways. There's like a few characters who kind of like literally disappear and like go no contact even with like us, the reader, and I'm like okay, but like I'm pretty sure they'll be in the future books. The spice level of both of these books, if you don't like spice at all, I wouldn't read them. However, if you were to look up what chapters spice is in, they're skippable. I don't think the spice really played a part to the plot whatsoever. I think it's fine. There was like a couple fun scenes in Done and Dusted, and I'm not really a spice gal. The spice in Done and Dusted was a bit better than Swift and Saddled. They're both fairly similar. I think Done and Dusted had more spice in it too. I think it was maybe in like 5 chapters, 6 chapters, and this was like 3 or 4 chapters. I think the spice gets less and less throughout the series too, if I remember correctly, from just the charts I've seen from people posting. The amount of detail and stuff is fairly detailed. Like if you're uncomfortable with, like I'm relatively uncomfortable with spice, I still read it. I skipped a few lines. It's like kind of detailed, but it's not like so far out of field, you know what I mean? I also come from a small town, and just seeing like the stores and the bar and just the environment is very nostalgic to me. That's really fun. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I've been rambling for a long time. I loved these books. I love this series. It's my current hyperfixation. I would probably continue reading it if I didn't have other books, especially arcs, to finish. It feels like an era is over, even though there's more to the series. Thank you so much for watching. As always, love you so much.